Hi everyone, I hope you are doing good. In this video, we are going to talk about Ollama. So if you don't know about it already, Ollama is an open source framework and it helps us run large language models on our local machines seamlessly. So we are going to first of all install Ollama CLI and software on my macOS. Then we are going to see how to download and run Ollama models. So this is the main website location from where you can get started with Ollama. So first of all, let's download the Ollama libraries. It is available for Mac, Linux, and Windows. I'm going to use Mac OS. So I've downloaded the Ollama DMG. I've double clicked on it and now I'm going to move Ollama to my applications. This is how the installation works on Mac, but for Windows and Linux it might be a little bit different. So my application is now being copied over and soon I'll have Ollama running on my machine. Let's wait for it to complete. Okay, so this is complete. Let me close the window and I will go back to my terminal and I'll type which Ollama. And as you can see, Ollama is now available on my machine. And let me type Ollama hyphen version. This should, it's verifying my software. Yeah, so client version is 0.13.5. If we want to list the models that are on my machine, as you can see right now, I have two models that are installed. These were installed earlier, then I uninstalled Ollama and reinstalled it. So they still remains on my machine. But if you are installing Ollama for the first time, you might not see any value here. So this is pretty much it about Ollama and how to get started with the CLI. Now it would work like any other CLI, for example, Docker, Podman, or any other CLI that you have been used to. You can just type Ollama help and there would be flags and commands. So these are the available commands. Serve is to start Ollama. Create is to create a model. We are not going to talk about creating a model now. In this video, we are just looking for pulling a model from a registry and running a model locally. I've already showed you the list command, which lists the model that are available on my machine. And then we can also check PS, which is to list running models. So if I type Ollama PS, right now you can see I don't have any model running. So now we have Ollama library installed on our machine. We are now going to run our first model. Let me list the model. If let's say, for example, for some reason you had to download the model, you can just type Ollama pull model name. In my case, model is already installed on my machine or pulled, then it did not take much time, but I refreshed it so it says 5 seconds ago. Although the manifest and all the layers of the models were same, that's why it didn't take much time. In your case, depending on the model that you're trying to use, it may take a little longer. Now, how to know which model to run? So you can go to ollama.com/search and search for models based on your requirements. Or you can also go to ollama.com library and search for the models that you need. And in the search, you can search for models. For example, if you need model for embeddings. So you can search for embedding types of model, thinking types of models, or maybe you need tools to run with your LLM applications. So you can use the models that supports tool. Each model in this search has tags. So for example, this model called devstral2 supports tool, cloud, and it's the size of the model 123B. Bigger the size, more resources you would need on your machine, and it would take more time for you to download these models. Then you can also search thinking models or so on and so forth. Once you click on each model, the screen would most probably to you look like a Docker registry where you used to download a lot of different tags of a same image. For example, let's say OpenJDK image with UBI base image or with Alpine base image. Those kind of tags we used to have. Similar to this, for example, here in DeepSeek, we have latest tag. Then this is the latest tag which is pointing to this version. And then there is a cloud version of this image or this model, which runs entirely in cloud rather than you running it on your machine. Ollama will run it in cloud for you and you just connect to it remotely. There is a documentation with each model. You can read about it. For example, here it says it supports these kind of languages, upgrades, hybrid thinking modes, and so on and so forth. You can also go to the vendor specific sites itself to know more about these models. In my machine, what I'm going to now do is Ollama run. That's the command. As you can see, let me scroll up to run a model. I'm just going to do Ollama run and then I'll just run the smaller one. So Ollama run small LLM 135M. That's what I'm going to run. Let's wait for it to start up. Okay, so it's up now. It has opened a CLI for me. I can type /? To see the available commands that are available here. I can also see model information. For example, show info. So it'll give me information about the model. It says, okay, it's based on Ollama, parameters 134.52 million. This is the context length, embedding lengths, and all other information. So I can ask it question now, hi, how are you? And now it's thinking, it's running on my local machine, and it's now giving me the response, hi, I am software engineer at your name. I love to code and improve my skills. Thank you. Now, obviously, this is not a very sophisticated model. It's very basic model with very less number of parameters. So the responses might not be as sophisticated as with some of the better models that are available in paid version. But you can at least use these to get started with your AI LLM journey. Next, we are going to see how to run a model using Python. For example, if you are trying to write a program or a code, now you want to basically move ahead just from simply asking question to your LLM models, but you want to build applications using these models. How do you get started? So Ollama has its own Python library, which you can install using pip or any other tool that you prefer using Python. I'm going to now quit it. So for quitting the model, you just simply say bye. And if I just now type Ollama PS, it shows that there is a model that's running. And if I type Ollama help, I want to stop, so I just say Ollama stop and I'll type the model name. If I do Ollama PS again, now I don't have any model running. So that's what I wanted before we start. Okay, now let me create directory on my machine. Oops, I wanted to call it Ollama demo. And now Python -m venv. I can probably call it Ollama Python 3. So what I'm doing now is I'm creating a virtual environment so that whenever we are installing any libraries, they are installed in this virtual environment rather than installing it on my complete machine. Okay, so virtual environment is now ready. If you can see, it is created here. Now I will source it so that I am now inside the virtual environment. If I now type which Python 3, it is the Python that we have in this virtual environment we are pointing to. And if I just type which pip, we are now using this virtual environment to install any packages. So now let me install this package for Ollama. I'm going to use pip install Ollama. Ollama package is now being installed for my Python library. It's going to take some time, so let's wait for it to complete. Okay, so this is complete. Let's open this directory in my VS Code. Let's create a file demo.py. So this is my demo.py. The Python script is now created. Let's invoke it. As you can see, we asked why the sky is blue. Well, it gave me the answer. It says because of these reasons, the sky is blue. And if I type Ollama PS, you can see that there is one model which is running. Obviously, this is the one which was invoked by Python libraries. Let's keep it running for now because now we are going to see how to use it with curl. So as you can see now, using curl also we can invoke a model. In this case, I'm again going to change my model. Okay, so this is the curl command to invoke Ollama model locally. Ollama locally runs on port 11434. So you can invoke using curl, using Postman or any other tool which supports HTTP protocol to interact with these models. In this case, we are basically sending curl command to this API 11434 API chat. This is the endpoint for Ollama model, and with that we are sending this payload, which is the model name, message with the role and content, and then streaming false. That means basically the response would not be streamed. We got the response in a single content. It says, hello here, how can I help you today? Whereas if we can just change streaming to true, we would see a chunk of responses from the assistant. It says, hello, that was the first response there, and then how can I help you? You can see these are coming up with different chunks, and in the end, there is a summary that was provided by the API. But if you just want to get the response in a single output, you can get the response like this. Hello here, hello there, how can I help you today, like that. If I, for example, just access it like this, you can see Ollama is running. API reference is available here in the documentation. So you can see that base URL is 11434 API, and these are the example requests, like similar to what we did. Instead of sending obviously a complicated prompt, we can simply ask like this also. In our case, we sent a message role and content, but we could have also sent a prompt rather than the message. Libraries, like I mentioned, available for Python and also for JavaScript. Okay, next is authentication. So 114 through this port 11434 does not require any authentication, but authentication is required if you are running cloud model or publishing a model or downloading a private model. By default, you don't need authentication for this. It has two type of authentication models that it supports. One is using this, you log in using your credential, or the second one is you can use API keys as well. In terms of the endpoints that are available, you can use post for generating a response, generating a chat response. Then you can list the models. For example, if we just type API tags, we can run the list the models. For example, in our case, we can type tags, and you can see I have two models on my machine. This matches the output from the CLI when I do Ollama list. We can also use API for checking the running models. We can use API PS endpoint. We can also make post call to get the model details, pull a model, copy a model, delete a model, or get version. So all these CLI commands that we were seeing with Ollama are also available through API endpoints. So you can use this to, let's say, for example, you are building an application which can automatically download models for you, create models, or those kind of activities are also supported using API. Okay, before we end, there is another thing that is now in beta phase, or I think in preview phase, which is the cloud model. So if you want, you can also use Ollama's cloud infrastructure to run your models. Obviously, you'll have to first log into the ollama.com. You'll have to create an account there and then run the command Ollama sign in. Once you are signed in, you can run Ollama models within Ollama's cloud infrastructure. The commands would remain the same, Ollama run and then the model name. The models that are available to run in clouds are not same as that available for you to download locally. So if you go back to the ollama.com search, in the search you just click on the cloud. That basically means these all models are available to run in cloud. This way you won't have to have a very huge or good infrastructure locally your machine that supports this model, you can simply run it in cloud and use it from there. But obviously, this would be paid. I'm not sure what's the costing model. I haven't explored that yet. So that's about it. In this video, we learned what is Ollama and how we can set it up on our machine. In the forthcoming videos, we will see how to use these local models to build some sample applications, how to use AI probably in DevOps or similar fields later on. Thank you for your time. See you later. Bye.